I what do you say at this point? What do you say? Do you say 10-1 is 10-1 and your record says what you are, or do you say this is one of the luckiest 10-1 teams you ever seen? This is the 10-1 team that honestly has looked the worst a 10-1 team could look, because you take yesterday as an example with the Bills, where you have a first half of football where you're just like, my God, Jalen Hurts is just not doing it today again. The team is just not hitting. The defense is just giving up yardage out the wazoo. And then you get to a second half where it's like the defense is okay, it's still a little flimsy, but it's shoring up. It's making big plays in clutch moments. And then you see Jalen Hurts in the second half, and you're like, that's the MVP of the league. How can anyone else argue that that guy is not the MVP of the league based on what he just did? There is just such an abundance of good fortune, if you will, with the Eagles. You could say the refs are on their side or whatever, but it's like, that roughing the passer call in overtime against Josh Allen was one of the most flimsy ticky-tack calls, but people are going to still say, oh, the Eagles, they get such a benefit of the refs and everything. Like, that was the most fortuitous moment of the game that a penalty was called, and it went in Buffalo's favor, so shut up. But anyway, you have to at least acknowledge that as Eagles fans, because there has been a lot of good fortune as far as penalty calling or a lack thereof, like with a horse collar that didn't get called in the first half of this game. But anyway, that aside, this team just doesn't get shook, and specifically Jalen Hurts. Back-to-back weeks, he comes out of halftime with a double-digit deficit, and the guy plays cool as a cucumber. Just like you saw him in the Super Bowl, down 8 points. I'm going to tie this game up for you guys. Don't worry about it. The guy's unshakable. Unshakable. It just makes me feel so assured that, like, even if they fall short this year, the Eagles have one of the most clutch players I have ever seen. Ever. And he's in just his third season as a starter. Like, man, the future looks beautiful with Hurts taking balls. Oh my God. I am so excited to see this guy's game evolve, because he is but an infant in the NFL. And this is how he plays? The guy's lost 2 games in the last 2 seasons. 3 if you count the Super Bowl. 3 games in the last 3 seasons. 2 seasons, excuse me. And this team is doing it with adversity. A.J. Brown has been irrelevant 3 games in a row. And they're just finding another way to get downfield, get the job done, rely more on Swift. Like you saw in the fourth quarter in overtime. Oh my God. No Dallas Goedert, no problem. We'll manage. And that is a huge loss. And so I tell people, I'm like, do you think A.J. Brown's going to continue to be irrelevant? Do you think that, Dallas Goedert's not going to be back by playoff time? Like, there is still a lot to bank on with this team. Lane Johnson out, has a groin issue. All of a sudden, woke up with a groin issue, can't play. I'm like, what? I saw that alert. I'm like, that's terrible. Offense pulled up their bootstraps, belts, whatever's, got the job done. Jake Elliott, a 60-yard field goal in the rain with seconds left. Are you kidding me? Almost 59 yards. Shut up. It would have been good from 65. Jake the Snake is just the shit. Just my mind is blown, because I'm watching this first half and I'm like, oh, this is the game. This is the game where it's gonna catch up on them. All that slide and bind, finding a way to win. This is that game, because I had bad feeling about this game. The second it was on the schedule, I was like, oh, that's really sandwiched in between two huge games, because you knew that Kansas City game and you knew that 49ers game were going to be the two biggest games, as well as the Dallas Cowboys games, which would establish dominance in the division. But I was like, oh, that game, that's the game the Eagles are going to sleep on, because they're going to be more mentally and physically preparing to beat the defending Super Bowl champs, and then to beat the team that they faced in the NFC Championship last year, which is every bit as good, if not better, than they were last season. The team just finds a way to win. Just find a way to win, and they find it. Like, it's like Shannon Sharp said, like, you can only say, like, they're lucky to be winning all these games when the wins then start to get double digits. 10th win. You can sit there and say the 10 lucky wins. I'll take my 10 lucky wins over the 8 wins the Dallas Cowboys have had over teams with sub-winning records. Who are you more impressed by, the team with 10 wins or the team that's blowing out the Giants and the Panthers? Anyway, it always comes back to the Cowboys, Archie. Yeah, it does. I am just so stoked. But this next game is everything. I mean, beating the 49ers pretty much wraps up the NFC East, if we're not going to kid ourselves. Other than Dallas running the table, if the Eagles beat the 49ers, that's pretty much the NFC East title locked up. And it's pretty much sent a message to everyone in the conference that we are the king shits. And you got to do some work to catch up to us. So I just, the one thing that could just be, if the team could really just start smelling themselves, is if they put up some sort of performance like you saw in the NFC Championship game. Granted, they're actually going to have a quarterback, San Francisco is, playing in this game, an actual real quarterback. But man, if the Eagles put up any sort of confidence performance, there is zero doubt, there is no way anyone, any fan, any player, any coach in the league can say the Eagles aren't the best team in the NFL. Now, again, that don't personally mean shit to me, because at the end of things, you got to win it all in the end to be worth a damn. And I don't care if you have all those wins. Like Peyton Manning had so many double-digit win seasons, and 6 times he went out in the first round of the playoffs. Like, he's not going to call those seasons success. I won't either if the Eagles get beat out in the first round. But man, this team is just such an amazing spectacle to watch, because you see them playing. It's like, man, this team, their opponent this week is going to clown them. The Eagles are finally going to get their comeuppance. Their luck is finally running out. But no, they win. And like even that loss to the Jets, which is now just an any given Sunday type loss, they were fighting to the end. It ain't like with the Dallas Cowboys, where you lost by 2 scores to the Cardinals that controlled the entire game. Like, you really weren't giving that much of a fight. Period. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I was going to make a video last night. I was like, I need to sit on this. I couldn't even put thoughts together about this team last night. I had to sleep it off. Like, never in my life have I had to sleep off an Eagles victory, a huge victory in overtime. And like, even on like that final drive, and I'm like, oh man, maybe the Eagles could just, get near red zone and waste the clock and kick a field goal, just take a tie. A tie is still huge. It's still a huge thing that could get you the division, lock up the 1 seed. Man, Jalen Hurts and whoever that corner or safety is that was posted on the goal line for the Bills, he was just like, oh, I'm not about that tackling life. I'm just going to let Jalen turnstile me into the end zone. Watch that replay of Jalen Hurts touchdown run in overtime, and watch the Bills secondary guy on the goal line. He could square up and try and block him, but he would have been knocked right out of his cleats, and he was just like no, and he just kind of tag. I got you with both hands. You're down. Say 2-hand touch, son. Oh man. Oh man, just like some of the old defenses, like some of the old defenders of the league, like Ray Lewis might just watching that probably going like, "Oh damn, son, put your shoulder into him." um, anyway. I mean, this is a big game. I mean, odds makers in Vegas are showing you that San Francisco's coming in as the favorite, a 1.5 favorite. So that goes to show you where the logic of common sense is right now for the Eagles against this 49ers team, because they are coming into Lincoln Financial Field as the favorite. So the Eagles can step up and show up to play and not play this "we're not going to look so good for a half of football" type play, and just come out of the gate, maybe do something like, I don't know, establish the run right away, like something that we haven't seen since week 3. That would be nice. But anyway, this is the biggest game of the season. This might be the biggest game of the entire season, other than the Eagles taking a loss and Dallas getting a win on Thursday, and being a lot more on the line the following week with the Cowboys. But man, I just part of me is saying that I've seen so much of this team look bad from both an offensive and a defense end of things, that I'm just like, that disappointment is going to come. They're capable of really, really, really giving you a disappointing performance. Which again, I know it sounds like I'm harping on the Cowboys, but they're a perfect example of a team that was built and designed to win, and they played San Francisco and just got shellacked. Like, I will not be completely surprised if San Francisco does something like that to Philadelphia, but then again, I will be equally just as unsurprised if they pull it out after going down 10 points at halftime. Like, that's where I'm so torn on this team. It's just like I'm tempering my hopes and expectations, because I've seen this team look so bad so many times, but then again, I've seen it look good at so many times. Oh boy, this is like this season's taking years off of my life, because it's such a mix of just heartache and depression. I'm watching that first half yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, they're not doing it. They're just not doing it. This is the game they're not going to do. Oh my God, they're 5 touchdowns from Jalen Hurts. 5? And only one of them was a brotherly shove. Oh. I don't know. What do you guys think? And as a not those of you out there that aren't a fan, like don't have a horse in this race, like 49ers fans, I want to hear, like, do you honestly see the Eagles as the better team right now? Because I think it's honestly a coin flip. I know, and I've said this to people, like, man, contenders don't lose 3 games in a row. Contenders don't lose 3 games in a row, but man, I feel like the 49ers might be the exception to that rule. Because I'm just like, you look at the great teams, like, none of them lost 3 games in a row at any point of the season. Like, that's a symbol of mediocrity. But I don't know, man. I go by what the eye test says, and I'm like, man, Purdy just looks legit. That defense just looks legit. I can't say that that team. I can't say they lost 3 in a row. There's no way I can see them in the Super Bowl now. Like, you take that 3-game sample out of the eye test equation, and man, San Francisco looks like an utter and complete monster. That's why this game is so freaking big. So anyway, San Francisco fans, like, homerism aside, I, as an Eagles fan, I can't tell you with full confidence that my team is just the better team. I can't. Can you say that about the 49ers? I'd be more curious about that. And those who are not a fan of, or you don't have any horse in this race, do you honestly feel the Eagles are a better team than San Francisco right now? Because that's what I'm most interested in, and the point that I want to leave off in. Anyway, big win, a big overtime loss for the Bills, and I mean, who at the start of the season had the Bills not making the playoffs? Like that is a very realistic possibility. And, and man, go in your phones or computers right now and look at the wild card standings for both leagues right now. The NFC wild card standings are the Cowboys, Seattle, and I forget who the third team is. Might be the Saints if I'm remembering correctly. Oh no, the Vikings. Um, that's your wild card teams, and in the AFC, it's the Colts. It's oh, who's the other two? I forget the other two. Oh, the Steelers and the Browns. And I'm like, wow, those are going to be three teams that are going. I don't, whatever. I don't know. I just looked at the standings this morning. And I was like, wow, the NFC wildcards look much more competitive than the AFC. If I'm answering things honestly, I don't know. But Pittsburgh always somehow finds a way to win a game or two here and there. Anyway, I can't wait for this game next week. This is but then again, my heart is just saying like, no, could you like, you know, go out with the family and go Christmas tree shopping or something and not watch that game? My heart is hoping for an Eagles just complete dominant run right out the gate and just go, okay, we could just relax. Might be able to see Marcus Mariota take a few snaps in the fourth quarter. Boy, that would be nice. That's my dream scenario. That Jalen Hurts isn't hurt and Marcus Mariota is in for at least 2 drives. Like that is my early Christmas wish here. I don't think that's gonna happen though. Anyway, crazy game. Oh, and I got a promotion, guys. I got oh, it's backwards. Sorry. I got promotion to manager of mischief. I'm no longer an underling in this house. Just wanted to show it off. Got that for my birthday, which was a couple days ago. Anyway, thank you for the late birthday wishes, guys. That is all.